welcome to Latter-day Profiles. We're here in Independence, Missouri, and joining me today is Lauren Felker. Lauren, welcome. Good to see you.
Hello. I'm glad to be here.
Lauren is 16. She's a junior at Lee Summit High School. And see, what's the name of your stake and ward that you're in?
The Kansas City Stake, and I'm in the Longview Lake ward.
Longview Lake ward. I was putting the pressure on before we started rolling. You represent all the young women and young men for the Kansas City Gray area, so no stress, but we want to talk about growing up in this area and some of the things that you're involved in, that kind of thing. So tell us about your family. You are fourth of five, is that right? Second oldest?
Second oldest,
Okay.
yeah. So I have an older sister. She is a freshman at BYU, and then there's me. I'm a junior. And then my two of my younger sisters, Ruby, she is in 8th grade. Rachel is in 6th grade. And then my youngest sibling, my brother, he is 9 years old. His name's Corin. So,
Tell me about your family. So what kind of things do you like to do together? Obviously, you attend church together, but what other kind of things do you like?
we really like to do things outdoors together. So we like to bike. We did a bike trip a few years ago. That was really fun. We really like to watch movies together. We're a big movie family. So usually Saturday nights, that's what we'll be doing. Lots of fun things.
Tell me about the challenge in my family, getting everybody together to do some Come Follow Me is a little bit of a challenge. How does that work for you guys?
It's definitely kind of hard. We all are like involved in our own things outside of school and stuff. So finding time to like at the end of the day actually all be together and to be able to read scriptures and whatnot is always difficult. But I think usually it's pretty late, but we'll all get together in the living room and get to pray and read together. And I think it's a nice way to kind of close out our day, especially if we've been busy, all sorts of things.
Are you doing seminary right now?
I am.
Yeah. How's it? Are you early morning?
Yes, early morning.
Tell us about that. What time do you get started?
So it starts at 6, and it's actually only in person 3 days a week, on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Monday, Friday, we have online assignments. So it's definitely early. It's always a struggle, especially as the week goes on, to get up at 5 a.m. and get ready. But I really enjoy it. We go to our teacher's house, and it's a nice way to start the day. Just kind of like almost that spiritual protection before going into school. It's really nice. I enjoy it.
How many kids do a seminary with you?
I think there's somewhere between 10 and 15.
Okay.
About, yeah.
So nice group.
Yeah,
Nice group. If everybody gets up on time.
Yeah.
What's it like, especially in high school? So there are lots of religion in this area. There are a fair amount of members of the church. How is it perceived being a member of the church? Does that come up in your day-to-day as you're doing school?
Yeah, actually it does. At least at my high school, there's not like a ton of members. In my grade, I'm one of 2. And then there's like maybe 5 others that go to our high school that are members, and it's definitely different. People have a lot of questions. A lot they don't understand, and like assumptions and whatnot. So whenever someone finds out that I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they're always like, "Whoa, like okay," because it's just not super common around here. So I definitely get a lot of questions. Some of them are like really out there, kind of random, and it's kind of almost scary sometimes because, sometimes I'm kind of on my own in that aspect. But I think it's also a cool opportunity because I, get to kind of practice being a missionary and getting to share with other people when our church isn't super, super prominent, from Lee Summit. Yeah.
Is that one of those things where I would worry about if that were me? It's like, okay, do I know what to say and what kind of things do I share? Do you think about that and try to figure out what are you going to share when people have questions?
For sure. Sometimes because, I want to say kind of, I guess, the right thing, represent the church well. And so, I'll talk to my parents a lot about it. I know last year there was a student in one of my classes that just always had so many questions, and sometimes it was kind of overwhelming, and I just, I didn't really know what to say or if I was in the right environment to say it. But I would, talk to my parents a lot, and they'd kind of help me and be like, oh, if this happens, you can share this scripture or say this, or, invite them to church activities, something kind of like that.
President Nelson Edler, General Authorities, will talk about doing things like in normal and natural ways. And does that come up? just to kind of day-to-day do a normal, so it probably feels awkward sometimes, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Are you talking about just like church and activities?
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does come up normal. I think like there's just like other things that I'll do that are part of our church that they just aren't participating in. Like sometimes I'll just talk about, oh, I went to like a church dance this weekend, and they're like, oh, what's that? And I'll just get to kind of, explain what that is, or like friend wants to hang out after school. Oh, I have a temple trip. And they're like, oh, what's that? So a lot of opportunities there, definitely.
That's totally cool. Well, let's talk about some of the things you're involved in. So you're interested, two main interests. Could be a doctor or be a broadcaster.
Yeah.
Or a doctor broadcaster will come in. So, and your school, you're involved in the broadcast program. Tell us about that. What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm in our advanced broadcast class. I'm the assistant news director for my school. So basically, we partner up in class and we make a news package once a month, and we basically highlight someone or something, tell their story through interviews and whatnot. And then at the end of the month, we'll put all of our shows together into one big school news show, and we'll anchor in between, and then we air it to like our classes' homerooms and stuff. I really enjoy it. It's super fun. It's a good environment. I think it's nice because it's kind of different from your normal school class. You know, I'm not sitting taking notes. I get to like leave and go do things and, you know, be creative with it. And so, yeah, and I get to, you know, help assist other classes and whatnot, being the assistant news director. So it's like nice to kind of practice teaching it as well. So.
And you would you're going to do it next year as well, so you'll be a veteran.
Yeah.
What are most about? Is it the journalism part? Is it putting it together? What do you like about that attracts you?
I think I do really like the journalism part. I like getting the interviews with people. I think it's super fun. I really like getting to go film B-roll and whatnot, and that's super fun. I really like script writing as well. I think getting to like piece that together it's satisfying for me, and it's fun. And when it's all done, it's like, oh, there we go. And you get to put out a good show.
I like to do it. So you were thinking about, obviously you're a junior, so you got a little time to think about college, but as you're pondering that's one of your options. What attracts you about going into medicine? What do you like about that?
Well, I always have kind of liked to take care of people. So kind of the like more like nursing, I guess, aspect of it. I've thought about nursing or something in like pediatrics, so like working with kids as well. I don't know what about it. It just always interested me. I have my aunt and one of my cousins are nurses. So I've kind of, you know, been able to talk to them and hear about their experience. And my dad's dad was a doctor as well. So I've been kind of exposed to it, and it's just something that's always interested me. I think the human body's really cool. And so through like anatomy classes at high school and stuff, I've been able to like learn about that. And I think it's just really interesting.
Oh, yeah. You've been able to be involved in a lot of different things. Utah Youth Leaders Day. Let's talk about that one. That was last year. So you were able to meet with some government officials here in Missouri. How does that happen? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it was a multi-stake event. So there were a handful of youth selected from each stake, usually like around 5-ish. And we all met at the Capitol one morning, and basically we got to spend just the whole day there meeting government officials. And it was really cool, I think, because, I mean, obviously you don't go to the Capitol every day. So it was kind of going like, oh, okay, we're in the Capitol. And it was really neat to just get to meet with other people and kind of share our faith, but also just talk about politics kind of, or just like how the government is run. We got to go to the governor's mansion in the morning before our day started and meet with the governor and the first lady. And that was really cool. It was neat because we were just, you know, in their mansion, got to see it all. And we got to pray with them, which was really, really cool and powerful spiritually. And I think, you know, the governor was very just encouraging of us and our faith and being there. And that was just really neat to see.
It's interesting because, you know, it's not a school-sponsored activity, but, you know, the stake doing that and being involved with the government officials. What was your take on, you know, what you saw as far as things that happened there and, you know, and the officials, their feelings towards you as a group coming as, you know, faithful youth from the church and trying to figure out what's going on with that?
It was really cool. I think there were kind of two aspects of it. I think the spiritual, you know, aspect of it, it was really encouraging that there were so many officials that were, like, encouraging of us. And that was just really neat to see. You know, we met with some people that shared our faith or similar faith, and, you know, they just spoke to us, gave us some encouraging words, and that was nice to just hear from somebody that, you know, works in the Capitol, is that kind of high up. That was really neat. I also think just, like, being able to, like, be there was really cool, just, like, the exposure. Like, we got to watch, like, a house session, and I thought that was really neat because I just got to, like, see what it was like. You know, that's just something you kind of hear about So getting to like actually watch it, I was like, okay, this is really cool.
How does it make you feel that you're invited as part of members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to come, and that's why you're there, right? And then very accepting, the leaders are very accepting of that. What was that like? How did that make you feel?
It was nice. It was kind of almost like heavy. Like we got to, we had to represent, and you want to represent well, right? And so, that was, I wouldn't say stressful, but kind of on that aspect. But it was, it was kind of, I don't know the right word for it. I don't want to say like empowering, but like it kind of like built my confidence a little bit. Like, I got to go and represent, and it was really cool, and we got to talk about our faith, and it made me feel like important, and it was really cool.
And you got to meet with, did you know some of the young men and women from other parts, other stakes?
I did. Some of my cousins were there from other stakes, so that was kind of cool. So I knew them, but I didn't really know anybody else personally, but we got to meet other people we kind of had some like icebreaker games and stuff, and we got mixed up in groups and got to meet other people from other stakes. That was really cool because some of them were from, across the state of Missouri. And so that was really neat. And, we got to bond closer with the youth in our stake that came with us.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, you're able to do some other things as well. Stake Leaders Day, you got to tag along with your dad, and kind of similar thing. What was that one all about?
Yeah, it was pretty similar. It was, stake leaders, stake Relief Society leaders from Kansas City, and I think other stakes as well. It was a pretty similar. They went around and talked to other government officials, and that was cool because I just kind of got to be a fly on the wall and kind of watch it all happen. I think it was cool to kind of compare that to the Youth Day, almost as in we were able to do the same thing that they were able to do. And I was really neat.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Tell me about, here in this area, what's it like in your ward? How many young women are there? How many young men? And what kind of activities? So how many young men and young women in your ward in particular?
I'd say there's around 15 to 20 young men and 15 to 20 young women.
Oh, yeah,
so a pretty decent amount of people, yeah.
Yeah. What kind of things do you guys like to do for service or for activities?
Yeah.
What goes on?
We do like to do temple trips a lot. We're really fortunate to have the Kansas City Temple so close and have it here for a lot of our lives. And so we'll do, combined temple trips. We'll just take out a night in the week and go travel up there, do baptisms. That's always a fun kind of bonding experience almost, because we get to be in the temple together. I really like that. We like to do bonfires a lot. We actually did one the other week. Yeah. So we'll, do games, outdoor games all together. And when we split up, just young women, just young men, we kind of, I don't know, we like to do a lot of things. We'll go do sports sometimes. We'll go, help clean up someone's yard as a service activity. Big variety. Do
you do many stake or multi-stake activities, or maybe a little bit smaller? What kind of things do you do there?
We do usually a stake activity like once a month. We do dances a lot. Usually it's like every other month, something like that. Sometimes we'll do like big game nights. We actually, a couple weeks ago, we watched the live broadcast of like the FSY music festival, and we did that out at a park, and it was a multi-stake event. That was really fun. A bunch of youth were there. We had food, all sorts of stuff like that. I'm actually on the youth stake planning committee.
Oh yeah.
Pretty recently. So I haven't done it for a long time, but it's been cool because I get to kind of help plan, figure out what we're gonna do. We're planning on like a speed dating friendship thing, Friendsgiving in November. So that'll be exciting as well.
So you get to have your say on some of the activities that might go on.
Get to represent the people from my ward and say everything, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about President Nelson gave a challenge to the youth to help gather Israel on both sides of the veil. I don't know if you've thought about that much, but what does that mean to you when you have President Nelson giving a clear directive to, specifically the youth? And of course, he always talks so highly about the youth of today and have the great capacity to do great things.
Yeah.
Does it feel great? Feel stressful? I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I would say it's great and kind of stressful because, he says we were like chosen for this time, and it's a big responsibility. And we have the responsibility of sharing the gospel to other people and gathering Israel. So it can be kind of stressful in some points, but also it's really cool as well, just getting to be able to tell others. And I think being like open about the gospel of church is a big one. And I mean, gathering people on both sides of the veil. So also, baptisms and stuff. That's really cool.
Now, tell me about your temple trips. Do you find names? What goes on? Do you get together and help with family history? What
Yeah,
happens?
usually we'll find like our own names on our own time and bring them, and we'll all carpool down together. And it's always a super peaceful experience, just getting to like sit in the chapel and watch the baptisms and then go participate in them. It's so spiritual, especially in the middle of a school week. It's kind of a nice like refresher, spiritually. And it's really cool. And like I said earlier, it's kind of a nice bonding experience because you get to go do these with youth in your ward that you're going to be doing other things with. So it's really cool.
I know you've hit that age, the magic age, I guess 16. Further strength of youth doesn't define what age you have to be today, but usually it's about 16. What are some things that you see as being, going to high school and trying to interact with others, the challenges when it comes to, being 16, 17, 18, going to high school and only be a couple members of the church there? What are some of the, I guess, advantages, but also maybe some of the challenges that you think of?
I think one of the advantages would be you get to meet a wide variety of different people, a lot of different people. So that's kind of cool. You get to, meet other people, but that's also kind of a disadvantage of it. It's hard to find people that, will fit my standards, if that makes sense, and share similar values. That's always been something kind of hard for me is, finding a solid group of friends or someone to go on a date with that, I know will respect me and like knows where I stand. So that can always be kind of tricky, just like the judgment of finding, when to do this, when to not, and when to, be with these people, when to not, whenever you're, trying to hold your standards, but also be kind to other people, and let them in.
Yeah. A question I always think about is I have a daughter that's 16. And so we talk about social media. Do you have rules on social media, what you can and can't use? And what's that like for you?
Yeah, so I do. I'm only allowed to have Instagram. So I don't have any other like Snapchat or TikTok or anything like that. I think I was kind of mad about it at first, I'll be honest. But I think, in hindsight, it's kind of nice because I think there's so much like drama and extra stuff that goes on social media. I think it can be a really helpful, tool to use, but also sometimes I kind of need to like take a break from it, step away.
Have you noticed, when did you get Instagram? How long have you had it?
I think I was, probably 14 or 13.
So for a couple of years.
2-3 years, yeah.
Yeah. Have you noticed any difference? Are you drawn to your phone on a regular basis? How is that for you?
I would say probably. I feel like I didn't want to admit that was going to happen, but I think I knew deep down that was going to happen. Yeah, definitely.
What is the interaction like, with friends and classmates on social media, and what kind of things? We're giving advice to parents. What kind of things do you use it for? Is it just to check out on everybody, see what's going on? I
think, at least for me, mostly just like kind of sharing my life, checking up on everybody. I think it's fun. I mean, like homecoming's coming up this weekend. You get to see everyone's pictures, all sorts of stuff like that. I think it's kind of a slippery slope sometimes, for sure, like with comparison and stuff. But it's fun to just kind of like see what's going on, especially if I have friends that live far away or something. I can keep up with their life and things.
Yeah. So let's play the role of giving some parental advice. So if you're giving advice to parents out there, what are some of the things that they should worry about? Maybe some things they shouldn't worry about with their kids that are 16, 17, 18 years old. What do you think?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I would say I think letting youth have freedom to choose what they want to do, and if they want to have social media or like limits on it is important, I think, in the aspect of just trial and error and like learning, that worked or that didn't. And I think it might be kind of hard to let your kid go off and make their own decisions like that, because obviously you want them to have good experiences, make good decisions. But I think at least from personal experiences, even if I have done something that I regret or I wish I hadn't done, at least now I know that's something I don't want to do. So I think sometimes letting them exercise a little bit of freedom on that is super helpful. But I also think putting some sort of limit on it can also be really helpful because, we're still at 13, 14, 15, 16, still learning how to govern our time and, what we can and can't do.
What's your perspective on, I think as you go through different age groups, like 12-year-olds, members of the church, usually pretty active, then you start to lose some at 14, 15, 16 and such. What are you trying to do to maintain a strong testimony, to keep that, burning in your faith? And what have you seen in others maybe that is infecting their testimonies, whether it's helping them to grow or some things that maybe are harming their testimony?
Gotcha. I think for me, it's been just staying involved. I know it's like really kind of cliche and basic, but I think like there have been times where I've just really struggled and not enjoyed going to church or doing, certain church activities. But I think sometimes just doing it, just for, whatever, it can be really helpful. It can reaffirm your faith and testimony in the long run. I think from what I've seen and experienced from other people, drawing yourself away from people in your ward and church can really take a toll on your testimony. I think, staying involved and continuing to interact with people that share your similar faith can really help build yours. But also making sure that, you're at church to be at church and to learn the gospel, not just to be with people, if that makes sense. I think with media and the internet, it's a really slippery slope looking at things that are like against our religion or against, our faith. I think it's important to, if you have questions or are struggling with your testimony or faith, to talk to people that are your family or people, at your church. Talk to your bishop, doubt your doubts before you doubt your faith. Very much, I think it's super important to, keep yourself in line.
Yeah. Do you think you'll serve our mission someday? Is that are you thinking about it?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. For the longest time, I really just didn't want to. It just didn't appeal to me. But I've had, a few cousins that have come back and talked to me about it. And I think just like as I'm getting closer to that age, I'm like, okay, it's actually more of a possibility. Like it's coming up. And I think it's starting to really interest me. And I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure exactly when, but I'm definitely thinking about it. It sounds really cool.
Yeah, you get closer and say, that might be a reality. What sounds exciting and what is the scary part?
I think the exciting part for me, I think it's just something new. I mean, when you're in high school, it's kind of like day in, day out, same thing, So I think getting to just kind of get outside of myself and go somewhere far away from home, kind of, meet new people. I think that is what really appeals to me, but also kind of scary because I'm away from home and, I don't get to talk to my mom every day, all this stuff. But I think like in the long run, a lot of blessings will come from it. I think it seems like a really big testimony builder. So, yeah.
Does it change that you can actually, call home every week? Does that
does
that make a difference?
I think for me, at least, that makes it a lot better. I'm definitely kind of a homebody. So I think, getting to interact with my family once a week can be really helpful, help me stay high-spirited if I'm ever having a hard week or something or feeling homesick.
Yeah, I love that, to be able to talk when my son was on a mission. But at the same time, it was almost worse because then I was going through the highs and lows with him as opposed to 2 weeks later after getting a letter. But anyway, so after you finish up today, you're actually being a part of school, right? It's homecoming. What are you up to?
Yeah, so for the rest of the day, we've got pep assembly, which I'm going to be singing the national anthem with some other people in my chamber choir. And then we have our homecoming parade. So all like the sports and clubs have like floats and the theme is Haunted Hoko. So it's all kind of Halloween themed. So I'm actually going to go film that afterwards. So I get to do that. And then we have our football game tonight as well. So that'll be really fun. Our football team's not doing too bad right now, so it's kind of exciting.
Shout out to them. All right.
Yeah. And then we have the dance tomorrow, so that's from like 8 to 10. So we'll do like pictures and dinner with friends and stuff. Yeah.
So you got lots of good things going on.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren, thank you for taking some time to give us some insights into your life and what's going on here in the Kansas City area for the young men and young women and sharing your testimony with us and your plans for the future. So, Lauren, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been good to chat with you.
Welcome. It's good to have with you too.